job to do. Everyone had some chores. And Ellen herself had a special job. But first, before I tell her what her job was, does any of you kids, does your parents ever tell you to do something? Like, do they ever give you a job around the house? Would you like to share? What do they tell you to do?
Wash dishes.
Okay, wash dishes. Anyone else?
Clean the house.
Okay. Would anyone else like to share? Who else?
Taking out the trash.
Okay, that's good. So Ellen's job in the house was, the family had a cow, and the cow's name was Bossy. And so every day, at the evening, at the end of the day, before it got dark, Ellen would go out and she would open the gate to the pasture where the cow was in the field, and she would lead the cow up to where the house was, to where they had a shed. And every evening, her dad, the father, would milk the cow. So that was her job. That was Ellen's job. She would go down, she would lead the cow up to the shed. So this particular day, it was another regular day, and Ellen, she went down to the pasture to get Bossy, the cow. But she looked in the pasture and she couldn't see Bossy anywhere. Bossy was gone, the cow. It was empty. And so she was thinking, why is the cow gone? Why is it suddenly empty? And so she started calling out, Bossy, where are you? She walked around. She lived, the house was next to a forest, and there was also a river nearby. So she went around, she was walking, calling out Bossy's name, and then eventually she heard something in the distance, a faint sound. Moo, in the distance. So she went towards this sound, and there she saw Bossy, the cow. It was stuck in a small pool of mud. It was stuck there, and it was mooing. And so she saw it, and she was wondering, how am I supposed to get this cow out? We need to get it to the shed so we can milk the cow. So she was wondering, what am I supposed to do? So she prayed, and she was thinking, and she saw some grass, and she thought, maybe I should give Bossy some grass. And so she took out a handful of grass, and she went up to Bossy, and Bossy was just sitting there in the mud, and she gave some. And Bossy went and it ate some of the grass out of her hand, and then she was thinking, all right, Bossy needs to get out somehow, so what are we going to do? So as Bossy was eating the grass out of her hand, she kind of pulled the grass away a bit. So Bossy was kind of reaching, trying to get the grass, and then she said, all right, come on, let's go, let's get up. And then, so with one hand, the grass in her left hand, and then in her right hand, she grabbed Bossy by the head, by her horns, and then she kind of tried to pull and encourage the cow to come out. And eventually, the Bossy managed to come out, motivated by the grass because it was really hungry. And so there they went back to the shed, and everything was good. So what can we learn from this story? Well, Ellen, she was taught by her parents to be very hardworking. She had lots of jobs, and she shared jobs with all of her brothers and sisters. And so the Bible tells us that if we can be trusted to do little things, God will entrust us to do bigger things later on. And Ellen, she was a young girl at the time, but she grew up and she became a very famous Christian. She is known to us now as Ellen G. White. So she grew up, and that was her. And so when our parents tell us to do things around the house, we can be thankful, because if we do these things and if we do them well, God can entrust us to do bigger things later on. So thank you for listening. We can all go back to our seats now.
Amen.